Hey folks, it's Jamie, and today I'm going to show you an extension of the box, which is this lantern. So if you look at it, it's very similar to the box we made before, with the upper part being smaller than the bottom, and then of course the lid being extremely big. But the construction of this is very similar. So I'm going to make one of these, and then we can talk about the modifications. So to start out, I was inspired by the shape by this form here. And this is just, I found this for $1 at a craft store, and I got it not knowing what I would really use it for. And similarly, the same shape you can get at a dollar store. I don't even know if they sell these anymore, but that's the inspiration for this one. Anyhow, I've decided that this is the size I want. It's not the exact pattern I use for this. Those patterns are somewhere else, but you're at home, you're going to be making your own. So this is an isosceles trapezoid. And so what you're going to do is, if you are curious to make the same size of this one that I'm going to show, the bottom measurement is 4 5/8. It's 5 inches tall, and then the top is 3.5 inches. I'm going to make a pattern of this to make it much easier for repetition. So now I'll just cut this out and come back and begin the assembly process. Okay, so I'm back and I've cut out my clay, not all the way, but this is my template. I cut out, and then I just folded it at the creases to give me an idea of the shape. So one of the things I can do now that I have the shape is determine how big the top is that I want. So I cut out a 7-inch square, and I'm thinking that's what I would like, maybe a tad bit bigger. So I might go with 7.5, but we'll see. I can always trim it back later, but that's what I've chose to do. In addition, I have created a little strip. That's the width of a ruler, and that's just going to be for this inside part that hangs down. So normally when I do these projects, I use clay with a lot of grog in it, and this clay body was unmarked, and I think it just might be straight B-mix. So we'll see how it performs. I'm just marking now the lines where the folds need to go. The other thing too is, just like the box, I'm going to take 1/4 off of the end because I'm going to be joining together and going to get a 1/4 inch from the other piece. So I'll just make this the short one and get rid of that 1/4 inch. So just like the other project, I'm bringing it up first into a horseshoe shape. So far, so good. It's not ideal clay for me. I feel like it is just regular B-mix, so it has no grog. It'll still be fine for this project, and I'm still going to use it. So I'm just looking here to make sure this looks squarish, and it does. The bottom, not so much, so I'm going to flip it and work on that. While I have it flipped over and where I can have much better access to that seam, I'm going to go ahead and put a coil in. So I'm thinking about this. I don't want to dissuade you from using clays without grog in it. It's each clay body that you use, it's a learning experience, and you have to learn how to work with it. One of the things you could do for clay bodies such as these is just use these as your support. So you would fold the clay up, with this in it, and kind of tape this to keep it stuck to the walls. So that's another way of doing it. I had one teacher once who would just take the tar paper with the slab and roll it through the slab roller, you know, cut it out, and then just keep it on it the entire time when shaping. So that's an idea. Oh, the other thing too I thought that was kind of interesting with the shape is you could fold it into threes and have another little vase like thing happening. This is looking better. I'm going to flip it back. And as I was doing this, I realized I didn't roll the bottom. So I'm going to roll the bottom here in a second. But let me get to the top first, because the top has to set up a little bit. So you're just going to stay put here. And we'll work on the top. Okay, so I know you're saying, like, why didn't you just use this to begin with? I thought, so I was actually adding probably an inch onto the size, and then I didn't realize that till afterwards. So anyhow, I think I'm closer to 7 inches now. Ooh. Yeah, 7 3/4. I'm gonna keep it. I like that size, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, so I can just tell by the feel of this that this is super wet and it needs to set up a teeny bit before I do my next step. So I'm going to do just that, let it set up along with the box. And when I come back, I'm going to attach the box bottom, and then perhaps the top will be ready to work on. Hey, so I'm back with my bottom rolled out. And what I'm going to do now is simply score this side. I also do this. So, I mean, instead of paddling, you could also go around the edges with your pony roller. And I'm kind of beveling in as I go around. Bottom is super wet, so it's starting to fold inward. I don't want that to happen, so I'm going to flip it back to a flat surface and press down. Okay, so I'm pressing down inside so the bottom goes flat again. And now what I'm going to do is just smooth the seam on the sides. I'm going to be coming back and doing a lot more work on these outsides, so I'm not going to do too much work right now. What I could take advantage of is, at this stage, before it gets to leather hard, is to do some shaping on the outside, and I like to poof these out a little bit. So I'm just going to take this wooden form, and I'm going to just start pressing up like this. If you can see that coming out, you'll see it better here. In case you're wondering, this is for crepes. Got it at a kitchen supply store. This needs to set up now. So I'm going to let it put it out here, maybe in the sun for a teeny bit, and we'll come back. So this piece of clay right here is going to be for the little feet. So on this guy here, I have little feet here. I'm going to make them bigger. So the way that I do that is you can roll a thicker slab of clay, or in this case, maybe I'm just going to fold this and see what I can get. I don't have my normal set of cutters here today for the squares, so it feels a little off to me. But anyway, what I'm going for here is this on the back. And so the way that I'm going to do that is I start off with a square, and then I'm going to take out the center. And these are the pieces that I'm going to attach to the bottom when it's set up. So I want to make a circle that just fits inside of here, and I think that works. What I'm going to do is just cut at a diagonal showing these two halves or sides. I'm just working this into the square shape. All right, we'll come back when everything's ready. Before you draw your design on here, you might want to practice out on paper first, and that way you can create a template that you hold up to each side of your lantern as you're going around and cutting it. So in this case, I'm going to do something like have 9 windows. So I'm going to just draw in carefree right now about these windows, what they would look like. And I don't mind that these have an organic feel to them. One thing that, so they're a little bit wonky, that's okay. The one thing that you're going to have to keep in mind when doing these templates is that part of your top is going to be obscured by the lid here. So that's kind of why there's this bigger space up here. But I actually like this. And so I will draw this onto the surface, just tracing what I did here for each of the sides. It's a lot of cutting. All right, well, I'll come back when things are ready. So this has firmed up a bit. It's not as sloppy as it was before. So I'm ready to do my next steps. So I'm going to create like this raised crisscross look that's right there. And the way I'm doing it is to just draw my fingers into foam across here. So now I'm going to just repeat. All right. Next thing I'm going to do, so this is the underside now, and that's the top. So for here, I'm now going to attach this. I'm just going to mark where it meets the top, and then I'm going to create a registration mark so I know where to put it back exactly. So take that off, score. Where I'm at right now. And I'm just making sure that the ends are coming down and meeting the board. So I want to do that all the way around. And then in the middle, for this design here, what I had done in the past is just cut a little square and then make it go the opposite way like that and curve up the edges with a dome. So I can attach that now at this point too. This part is done. I'm just waiting now for the body to firm up more and I can show the legs. So one of the things that I forgot to do after I put on the bottom is because I'm going to do some shaving on the corners, I wanted to reinforce the corners with a little bit of clay. So I'm going to do that now. These balls I did here are too big. I'm putting them in half. So what I'm doing is I'm just putting them into the corners of each part here and smoothing them in as you would do a coil. I'm hoping because of the heat today that this will firm up enough where I can actually show you the shaving technique. All right, inside is smooth, and now here comes the bottom legs. All right, so it's important when you do these legs that you have some parts of them sticking out. We're going to take care of all this overhang later, but I want to make sure that this is just sticking out a wee bit. The corner is going to stick out more, but we can take that off in the next, when I flip it back. So at this stage, we're going to wait for the feet to firm up. along with the body, but I could, because I know I'm going to shave this off, I could take the corners off right now. So I'm at the point now where my piece is leather hard, and my feet are on there pretty well, and now I can continue with shaping. Because this is a project also for my class tomorrow night, I'm going to only do 2 of the legs and save the other 2 for tomorrow night, but you will get the idea. So what you're going to need for this part is a Sureform, and these come in different styles. You have this little guy here, or you know, you can get something like this, or even longer ones, which I don't have handy right now. Anyhow, what I want to have happen now is to have like a smooth, graceful curve to the foot. So I'm just going to start peeling back the layers here, and I'm going to go inward here. So I'm not going to have it just come straight out. It's going to go in and make a curve. So it's worthwhile every so often just to pull it over to see what it looks like. That's shaping up nicely. All right, so once you're done with the Sureform, you're going to smooth it with a rib. In this case, I'm using a credit card. So now you can take this opportunity to actually smooth the entire side. All right, so here I'm just going to go across the top of the feet just to smooth out all that clay I brought up, and just a finger to soften that corner. So now you need to really look at the foot and decide if there's any other actions to be done, any smoothing on the interior. That's really sweet. I like it a lot. Now you can come back with your template and line it up. And in this case, I'm not ready to carve it out just yet, but what I will do, well, I could. Looking for a dull point. So I'm just going to trace my windows in. So there they are. I'm going to go ahead and cut them out just so you can see what that looks like. So you can see in here, I didn't follow my lines all together. Like here, I made this one smaller and this one smaller. It just seemed as I was cutting that these lines would be better served, and to give me more room in the middle to do that. So I'm just going to go over those little carvings that I made. All right, so the other thing I do after I carve a window is just go around it with a chopstick. Get all these burrs off. And so inside, it's going to be important to clean up there as well. So you're going to be able to look inside and see all those raised edges in there. So those ones I take off when it's dry. And the easiest way for me to do that is with a green scrubby pad. So let me show you a little trick. You can just take a green scrubby pad, and then you can, you know, rubber band it on to the end of a chopstick, and then just go down there. The other thing that we did in class also is we made these little tools where we just glued on part of a green tab onto a tab and just went down there like that. So that's kind of a nice little tool. Well, the true test now would be to put the top on it. When I'm doing these, I always want to make sure that the inside foot that I'm doing for the top does not show through the windows. And I succeeded here, so that's good. So I think that looks all right. It's a little on the stout side, but that's okay. I will have final pictures of this when it finishes on my Instagram page. So also it'll update to my Facebook page. So check me out there in a few weeks to see the finished glazed results of this piece. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.